Remedy Nation Part 2. I'm sitting with my brother Larice Purnell, man. Listen, you are about to go into a conversation that we started last week. So if you didn't see part 1, it's cool in the game. Just pay attention to what we're talking about now, and then you can go reference part 1. Please pay attention. He is dropping gems for those who really want to take their finances to another level. And of course, I'm going to have to plug my brother, man. He has a beautiful book called Financial Foundations. I've read it. It's on my personal bookshelf. We sell it here at the church, man. I just want to make sure that you know that there are people out here who aren't just after money, but they are after God and doing the right things with their money. I don't want to keep on talking. We're going into part 2 of this conversation with my brother, Larice Purnell. Put on your seatbelts because it's about to get real. I see you so. Man, how do you keep balance, man? I was, this past weekend, like I said, we're in a series called Money Talks. And I taught a message this past weekend called I Yearn to Earn. Yes. Right, and I'm just kind of talking about how earning shouldn't kill us, or earning shouldn't cost us our life and our marriages and our relationships with our children and things of that nature, right? And I kind of parallel it with Genesis 2. We know Genesis, where we see God, he creates and creates for 6 days, and he rests on the 7th. And, I was just been telling people, man, listen, if you are working to the point where you can't enjoy anything you worked for, then I believe you're out of the will of God, because if you look at it, it's basically telling us rest is holy. God rested not because he had to, but because he wanted to show us what it looked like to be productive in the right way. How would you push the people to understand how much balance is important, and any tips to keep balance for a young entrepreneur like myself? What are we supposed to do to find balance, man? How does that work?
One is, again, technology. In this day and age, it's not back when some of my old school people are listening. Y'all had the rotary phones. You had to go, It took you 15 minutes to call one number. You don't have that now. Everything is at your fingertips. Yeah. So 542 times on average, the average American looks at their cell phone every day. It's the one thing that you will leave home, forget, get all the way to work, and guess where you're going? Back home. That's right. Back home. You're going to get it. So it's a very powerful tool. So again, utilizing technology. And I think we're in a place now, when I talked about generational transfer of wealth, generational transfer of corporations. So we got a couple of generations now where people have created some wealth in our communities. People have been some thought leaders in certain areas. Reaching out for mentorship. So you don't have to scrape your knees the same way. So sometimes people, when you're the first anything, you always going to have to grind a little harder. You're going to be the one that's going to take the hits in the head, you're going to scrape knees, all that, the sacrifices. But in some cases, we don't work smarter, we work harder. So again, utilizing technology, finding mentorship. So any business or transaction that I want to do from a business perspective, if it's something I'm like, oh, I really want to do that thing, God is telling me he opened the door for me to do this, what I'm going to go do is find the best. You already did it. There's nothing, stop thinking, because you came up with a new idea, it's the first time somebody's come up with it. I always say now, no, you just haven't met the person who came up with it before you. They might be in Asia, they may be in Hawaii, they may be in Alaska, but it's not a new idea. Like they say, there's nothing new under the sun. So for me, what I try to do is then find who's an expert at that, and I read about it first. Don't just come up with it and say, hey, I want to open a pizza shop. Well, Papa John's does it pretty well. Marco's does it pretty good. Pizza Hut does it pretty good. Well, how did they create that model? You don't no longer have to start at the bottom anymore because, again, we have technology where you can read and be ahead and streamline your time. So that's what I tend to do a lot. Now, it's balanced hard, and it's a great book that pastor had us read one year that I still read every couple years called Margins. I just had my entire staff read it just recently. I said, I ordered for them, so I need y'all to read this because margins are important because you have to ask yourself at some point, what do you value most? And I'll tell you, you used to hear when you were younger too, that peace is more valuable than money.
Come on.
And I will tell you, yes, we all need money. Again, we talked about relationship with our money earlier on. But my peace at this point in my life is actually becoming more important than just money.
Come on.
So having peace with my wife, having peace with my kids, having peace at home, having peace in my company, having peace in my friendships, that's really important to me. So again, I would say that balance, you get a mentor, make sure you use technology, read about before you jump into something. Because again, a lot of times the time you're taking is not time you have to take, but it's because you didn't research before you got into that industry.
That's good. And, you know, honestly, for those who are watching right now, I'm happy that you mentioned margin, because margin, we're going to talk about that, I think, our 4th week with Stacy Collins. Stacy is he's everything to me. I mean, he's my spiritual uncle. Whatever he tells me to do, I do. He hasn't failed me yet. He makes sure that I'm put in a good position, man. But it's one thing that he told me to read a long time ago, which was margin, and it's changed my life. I have pushed our team to read the book, but I believe that you need margin in your finances. So we'll be talking about that in a few weeks. So you'll see that real soon. Question now. You know, you're geared toward generational wealth and things of that nature. My question for you is this, right? How do we start setting our children up? And I want to talk from this perspective. Let's say I am the person who I did not do well with my finances. I'm working a 9-to-5 right now. I got enough to pay my bills, maybe got enough to go to the movies every now and then. But it's very clear that I don't know if I'm going to break the cycle with me. And now I am just trying to figure out, even if I don't leave my kids, you know, all the money I probably wanted to, let me just give them something. Let me give them some type of start. Like, what am I supposed to do if I'm that person?
Okay. So I got to do a little lesson here now.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm going to do is ask everybody who's listening, I need y'all all to print down the last 60 days of your bank statements. We're going to go old school. I don't want you to do it on your phone or anything. Print them down, the last 2 months of your bank statements. You're going to get 3 highlighters, 3 different color highlighters. And what you're going to do is you're going to highlight, you know, one color is going to be all the needs that you spend, your mortgage, you know, your food, utilities. Then one color is going to be your wants. Cheesecake Factory, you know, Fridays, travel, clothes you didn't need. Okay. And the last one is going to be, the last color will be things that you spent in investments. So if you got your 401k, if you have, you know, a Roth IRA, you have stocks. And which one do you think, before I answer that question fully, will have the most highlights?
Wants.
It's going to be your wants. So let me say this first. Before you tell me that you can't afford to invest into your future, you can. You just got to cut out and reprioritize where a lot of your wants go. Because you got to ask yourself, do you want your kid to be set up better than you are? Do you want to transfer generational wealth? Instead of saying, I want clothes, I want to travel. So just change your wants. That's all. So all that being said, what I would say, and I would attest, will you ask the question, will you leave bills or benefits? Because like that valuable phone that you will drive home for, you have insurance on that. So how do you value dropping an iPhone and making sure you have insurance so you can fix that cracked screen more than you value having life insurance? Ooh. So we value that Range Rover we drive, and because the state told us we have to have auto insurance. Our house, our mortgage company said you have to insure that. Then why won't we have that same attitude till we have to leave generational wealth? And more cultures, what they do, we show up to baby showers and all that with shoes, tennis shoes, clothes. Who gonna get the cutest outfit? They show up with saving bonds, life insurance. So we just gotta show up differently. You know, we having baby shower, wedding showers, they having money showers. So I'm just challenging you today to say that you have to just redirect your finances and reprioritize. So if you only gonna make $50,000 for the rest of your life and you feel like that's not enough wealth to leave your kids and make them a millionaire, what you can do, I guarantee, is leave them life insurance. It's the last tax-free item in America that you can transfer wealth. So for that $15 that you have on that iPhone, could probably get you $50,000 to $100,000 in life insurance. So if you cut out maybe going to that restaurant once a week, that could get you $500,000. But now the key thing, Pastor Laverne, and now this is something I've been telling pastors. Our kids are going to kids' church. So we are so focused on teaching our adults about financial literacy. How about in kids' church, we're teaching them finances?
Yeah.
So now what we're doing as a church, we're pushing them to have the new table talk, not just be about the word, but how the word applies to wealth generation as well. So the earlier we start, the better we are off to change generations.
Yeah.
So again, that's my challenge to educators. That's my challenge to educational institutions is let's start young in order to impact and change lives. By third grade, if you don't know how to read, you're more likely to be in prison. So it's the same thing. Is it by third grade if you don't learn finances, you probably will be broke? So what are we willing to do at a young age? Yeah. So again, back to your question though, is if I leave Gavin and Gabby $1 million for say, if I don't educate them, then why did I leave them $1 million? We have $1.3 trillion that we spend as a black community. Imagine if we reinvested that, that might be $10 trillion. But because we don't understand wealth, what we're doing is we're making other people's last name mean something. We're making Nordstrom mean something. We're making Saks mean something. We're making Ben & Jerry's mean something. Just value your last name. That's all.
He said, take it to kids' church. Hey, listen, Minister Brittany, if you are watching right now, you getting fired if we don't teach them. No, I'm just, but no, man, shout out to Minister Brittany. She just told me the other day that our kids, they came to kids' church. All of them had their tithe, right? And I think that they were able to like purchase their chips for the month. Now, of course, we didn't tell them to do that. We could have bought them some chips. Right. But they understand the importance of making sure that they take God's cut off the top and making sure that they give. And we want to continue to push them in a direction, man. So trying to give them some biblical financial literacy, but also, man, we're going to start pouring into them. So thank you for that piece. Question: I am 17 years old, anywhere between 17 and 21 right now. I'm either just about to graduate school, I'm a freshman in college, whatever the case may be. What can I do? Because when you go to college, they tell you to go hurry up and get credit cards. When you are in high school, you don't have any credit, so now you're going to college trying to figure out how to make things happen because you don't want to be on your mother's and your father's, pocketbook for so long or whatever the case may be, or at least that's the way that we've conditioned ourselves to think, right? So what can we tell that age group between 17 and possibly 20, 21 or so?
That's a great question, and I'm going to put that onus back on the parents. The average young person's mind is not developed till they're 25, 26. So we got to stop trying to put adult situations on people's minds who aren't fully developed yet. So I would tell you, though, as I talk to young kids, the goal is 800. And they always say, Luis, what do you mean 800? When you graduate college, if you do these steps, you will have an 800 credit score. I'm going to tell you how that's going to change your life. So what does that mean? Well, Pastor Lavender, you have a 16-year-old or even a 13-year-old. What you're going to do is because you pay your bills, because you're taking this financial tools that you're being taught here at this great ministry, and you're making sure that you pay your bills on time, you're creating wealth, what you're going to do is transfer that to your kid. What you're going to do is add them as additional users to your credit cards. So by the time they go to college, they already have a 700 score. And they're only 18 years old. So they could actually buy their own car. So when you, at 18, when you want to make sure when they go away to college, you give them that graduation gift of a new car, guess what? Don't just buy the car. You actually put the car in their name and you co-sign for the car. So not only have they been on your credit for almost 3 to 4 years, so you now giving them history.
You said you can start this at 13.
You can start it at 13. So again, my kid who is in the building will tell you that if you ask him right now to pull out his wallet, he will pull out American Express Platinum that he has had in his wallet for years, and he just turned 18. And that is the standard, and he knows. But also what I've done now is I've taught him how to manage credit at a young age. Yeah. I don't let the colleges teach my kid. It's almost like saying I don't teach my kid at home, and I send him out to the street and wonder why the dope boys teach our kids.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is dope boy or banks. So what I'm not going to do is let the banks teach my kid how to manage their financial future when they go away to college and they're not under my roof again. So again, from that perspective, what I do is I challenge when I go to colleges, we're going to get to an 800, y'all. So then now they have the credit card that they're on with their parent. Then what they're going to do is they're going to get their own card because now they know how to manage credit. So now they're building their own name. So again, what they're going to do is pay the minimum. So they'll go out, buy some gas, pay it off full because they know the principle of credit. Mm-hmm. So then when they leave, so I'm going to now we're going to back up a little. Parents, please take this note. If you watch social media, this young girl, her and her mother, she got over 250 scholarships. 250 scholarships for almost $2 million. And you said, okay, ask me, Pastor Lavender, how does that change her life? So it changes her life, and you say, from a public perspective, if you take public funding, once, say, for example, her college tuition at $35,000, if she has, say, a $400,000 that was from public institutions, she can only take $35,000 because they're from public institutions. Mm-hmm. But if she got private scholarships, she can take all $2 million. So I'm going to help you with this. Not only have you now taught your kid how to have a great credit score, what you also have done now is, what I want you parents that are listening, I want you to spend time starting in 10th, 11th grade, start applying for different scholarships, find out different scholarships, using places like College Now to figure out what resources are out there. And your goal is to make your kid have a great credit score, to leave college debt-free, and when I say debt-free, now I'm going to blow you away. Now I got to sit up for this one. So if that young kid, I'm going to tell you how her life changed. Young black girl who grew up in poverty, not only does she have good credit now, well, she has all these dollars that she's been given now to go to college. Her college tuition is paid for at $150,000 for 4 years. But her mom got $2 million. So what this does is her mom can now buy her a home in the college town she's going to. She can now, while she's staying at home, because you know this very well, they'll rent every other room for about $800 a semester. Yeah. So now she becomes an 18-year-old landlord that her mother helps her manage, and now she's staying and not paying for room and board, and she owns a house she stays in. And then when she gets out of college, not only, because the three things that kids leave college with debt. The first thing is they think because they signed, they graduated 4 years, that I should have a home. Right. I should have a nice car. Yeah. They leave with credit card debt. Now the fourth thing is they leave with college debt. So imagine this. We're going to just call her Annalise. Annalise leaves school in 4 years. Annalise now will buy a house, cash, debt-free. Annalise will now have the finances to buy a car, cash, debt-free. Annalise owns a home that she will rent for the rest of her life in her college town. Annalise has no school debt, no credit cards. Now you tell me she has a better start? Because what she did. Parents, you got to sit with your kid. You got to educate them. You got to go and lead them through financially at a young age. So again, how do we change generational wealth? It's through education and taking advantage of the resources that are out there for us that we're just not taking the time.
Reese, man, you messing me up, man. I'm about to let you go, man. You've been with us now for 2 weeks, man. My goodness, man. Jeez, man. This is how I want to end. I was going to end with insurance, but you already kind of talked about that. On the back of your book, I want to make sure that our ministry, man, make sure that we support you in any way. Make sure that we get this thing. So for those who are watching right now, make sure that when you come into the house, when you come into the Remedy Church, make sure that you go buy this book. It will be at the store. Don't worry about it. And then also, can I get this online anywhere?
Yeah, so go to unexpectedbook.com.
All right, so you guys see it on the screen right now, unexpectedbook.com. You can also order it from there. Let's make sure that we support them. But you have something down here. It says, have you ever heard of the 20-mile rule? Yes. Can you please help us understand that? And then from there, man, we're going to get up out of here. What is the 20-mile rule?
20-mile rule is, it's one button. You're in the mall, you got $300 in your checking account. Those shoes cost $1,000. You have a savings account, may have a couple of thousand in it. You're going to hit that button. What's that button?
That's that transfer.
That transfer button. But if you put your savings account, because you're trying to save for a rainy day and for your future, 20 miles from your home with no bank card, and you ACH because you have a zero balance budget. A certain amount is being ACH into that account. What it's going to be is an out of sight, out of mind rule. So now you can't go on your phone and say tap, transfer, tap, transfer. It's not even on your phone. You don't even have access to it. All you do is ACH it and let it be out of sight, out of mind. 20 miles from your house, because let me say you're at the mall, you're buying these shoes, and you can't transfer. By the time you get in your car, I realized as I did the test and wrote that rule, after about 5 miles, what you're going to do is decide to get on the freeway and go back home. Because you're going to tell yourself, you know, is it really worth driving all the way down there? Then I got to stand in line and all that. Then I got to actually drive that 20 miles back to that place. So again, it gives you time to think. Because usually most purchases we make in life are impulse purchases.
Yeah.
That's why we have bad outcomes.
Yeah.
So again, this makes you sit in that car and think about, do I really need those shoes? Because I'm only going to wear them once. Because once I post them on the gram, then I can't wear them again. So again, that's the rule that we have in place.
Man, listen, man, for those who are watching right now, you need to have a 20-mile rule with the one you date. Honestly, if they live 20 miles away from you, you ain't going to go over there and sleep with them, right? You're going to keep yourself holy. By 7 miles in, you're like, man, I don't know if it's going to be this good. I mean, just 20-mile everything. 20-mile the people you got issues with. You ain't going to fight nobody 20 miles away. Come on, guys, man, but I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for being with us for these last couple of weeks, man. For those who are watching right now, you can see, man, God is doing something amazing within our ministry, man. But I'm just proud to be connected to those who are doing amazing work within our community. I want to be very clear. I am a proud partner with, CLE Consulting, a proud partner with you personally. He takes care of my personal stuff, man, our business stuff, man, and you have always kept me in the right space. So I thank you, my brother, for always, man, having my back, on every level, man. But I want you guys to really tap in to see what Larice is doing. You see his Instagram handle below. Follow him on all social media outlets. You will see that he's always popping in and out of the city, but I've seen him hop on a couple of jets. I done seen him, man, hop on a couple of jets and go to a few places, man. So if you need him from a church, a business perspective, trust me, I am saying it, man. I am vouching for my brother. For those who have been watching for the last couple of weeks, I know you have been blessed. So let's quit playing, man. For those who are watching, and you may say, man, they talked a lot about money. Did they talk enough about Jesus? Listen, you want to tune in every Sunday, and I'm telling you about what the Bible is saying. But let's be very clear. You've heard us mention Jesus more than a few times in this interview, but here it goes. When it comes to churches, a lot of times we talk about Jesus, but we don't give people the practical tools that they can walk away with. Will a man rob God? Yes. Okay, it's true. All right, put a seed in the ground and you're going to get that. Yes, all of that is true, but help me understand, because we don't deal with seeds and fruit no more. We deal with dollars and cents. So today, that's what we talked about. But if you don't know Jesus, there will never be a time where I get off this platform and I don't extend that hand. If you don't know Jesus, text the number below, and there are more than a few individuals waiting to see your name pop up in the queue so that they can call you to make sure that your life is secure. And then last but not least, don't come here and get financial tips. You heard the man. He's putting God first in all that he's doing. So don't leave with these financial tips and not sow where you are growing. If you have been tuned in with us for the last few weeks, then you know that what you have gotten from here has taken your life to another level. So don't hesitate to sow into the ministry so that we can continue to get more information out. Man, I thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. And like I always say, I love you. Larice loves you. But I'm telling you now that God loves you so much more. Peace.